The Center for Disease Control has issued guidelines in the form of decision trees for how the process of reopening might be for 6 major industries: schools, restaurants, bars, child care centers, mass transit, camps, and workplaces. What's in it? Can we reopen? Can we trust these guidelines? How agenda driven are they? Find out this and more on this episode of PNDA Ponderings. Welcome to Friday, May 15th, this edition of PNDA Ponderings. This is Phil coming back at you again with some information that you should know about and ponder on. So before I get to today's topic, I'd like to thank my good friend Jeremy on pointing me to something interesting that I'd like to share with all of you. Apparently there is a laboratory called Sorrento Therapeutics in San Diego, California, that has been working on antibody development for COVID-19. They have found that one of their antibody cocktails, it's a mixture of a couple different things, named STI-1499, has shown to be a 100% inhibitor of SARS-CoV-2 in laboratory tests. You should take note of this because not only did they test from their library of fully human antibodies starting 3 months ago, but they also partnered with Mount Sinai Hospital to acquire B cells from recovering COVID-19 patients to test this on as well. By the way, B cells are lymphocytes in the human body that helps produce antibodies. We're still early and there are multiple steps that need to happen, but this is promising and I'll keep an eye on this, and this could be a future PNDA Pondering. But anyways, back to our topic at hand. Today's topic is the CDC's guidelines that it just published yesterday. Let me first say that this is awesome. Again, I don't make videos to leave it until the end. You know, if you want to switch off, switch off. But I want to say that this is awesome. It's concise. It's well thought out. The guidelines don't introduce a lot of unnecessary political influences into it. All in all, I think these are great guidelines that they put out. They have published 6 decision tree guidelines for the 6 major industries that I talked about in the teaser. And I also heard, but I can't confirm this for myself, that they actually have decision tree guidelines for a significant number of other industries that just haven't been made public yet. I've linked each of these PDFs in the description below. Please go and check them out for yourself. What I noticed was that, well, first of all, I'm not going to read through each one and go through it. I want you to do that. Part of my sharing and my pondering with you is to even give you training for you to have critical thinking of yourself, or for yourself, I should say. But anyways, what I noticed was that they were very fairly similar to one another, and there was 2 main areas that they're really concerned with. And this first area is, do you have health and safety actions in place? And this includes things like public promotion of healthy hygiene practices. It includes a plan of action for intensifying cleaning, disinfecting, and ventilation. It also includes training on all employees on health and safety protocols. And the second part is they're asking if you have a means for ongoing monitoring. This is being able to check for signs and symptoms of COVID-19. Also, it's having a plan in place for if employees get sick or an employee gets sick, and it included regular communications and consultation with local authorities and health officials. I think this is a right step in helping us to develop better means of strategies for reopening. Now, I understand that they do also state first and foremost that they do recommend that you stay consistent with applicable state and local orders. And they also ask that if you're ready to take on the responsibility of protecting employees at higher risk for severe illnesses. So those are 2 very important things to understand. This is CDC's guideline. They're not saying this supplements anything that your local government is doing. This is just what they're saying is the best practices for considering reopening. The thing I want you to ponder is this. All you're hearing about, a lot of what you're hearing about, is the negativity and the lack of options out there. And from a standpoint of some of our politicians, you might be right that that's all they're seeing. But just know this isn't a black and white issue. There are a lot of possibilities out there. We just have to be advocates for these possibilities. And you have to remember that these controversies and the extremes and then the negativity, that sells, right? It's clickbait. It's a way that it helps to promote people reading it. People don't want to read that things are going hunky-dory unless it's like really over the top positivity. This middle ground of where most of the things that we're at doesn't sell newspapers, doesn't get clicks on links, and so that's not what you're going to hear most of the time. And in fact, like most of the things that people saying that are very even keeled and even based, they're not they just aren't considered sexy. So of course that's not what you're going to hear. But here's the thing, like it is on kind of the du jour thing to do, to criticize and to be skeptical. I'll get that right, about things. It isn't. The positivity is no longer a part of the narrative that, hey, that's cool. But the thing is, the positivity is what drives us. The hope is what drives us, and all that's happening with this negativity, it's feeding upon each of itself into a bitter state where we're getting more depression. We're getting people in deeper issues from a mental and emotional state. And so, you must know that you have the possibility to be an advocate for positivity out there. You have an advocate for possibilities out there. I want you to know that there's possibilities all around. There's and it's not an either or kind of thing. Our situation right now isn't that you are either for those who are sick or those who are high risk of being sick and you're wanting to protect them, or you're for the economy. It could be both. You actually could have an equal footing of desire and concern for both, and they're not polar opposites, but it sells newspapers to make it polar opposites. And I just think that there are politicians out there and there's news and media outlets out there that are having an agenda to get you to click and read and see and whatever other agenda that politicians might have. But what you need to know is that there is actually a lot of things that are happening and going on right now that could utilize your positivity and your critical thinking to be able to see those things happen. So anyways, once again, this is Panda Ponderings with Phil, and I hope this gives you something to ponder about. Take care, be informed, you have choice, and you have responsibility. Bye-bye.